Hey guys, so I'm going to run through the changes to the syllabus in terms of how I'm going to approach grades for the rest of the semester and what changes there are to the grades that were in the syllabus as it was posted. First off, I want to say that I am just going to tie a bow on attendance and participation. You got a midterm grade before we went to break. For attendance and participation, that grade will not go down. I'm not going to penalize anyone because they can't come to class at the regular time via Zoom or any other method, whether that be for technical reasons or because things have changed in your life. You can get up to 5% more as extra credit if you consistently engage and consistently give like quality substantive feedback to each other through things like discussion boards, or you come to class via Zoom and ask really good questions that are really useful to each other. But you're not going to have that grade go down because stuff has changed in your life and suddenly you can't be available at the time that we had originally had class. I don't want anyone to worry about attendance and participation bringing their grade down in the coming weeks. So I'm just wrapping that up. You got a grade at midterm. I kind of was assuming that there was going to be a second half to that, but that's fine. That just is going to be what it is. In terms of your assignments, which are the biggest chunk, I kind of had to think about this in terms of how we could best support our learning goals and objectives. And how I've decided to go forward is to chunk the rest of the semester. You might just have heard my cat Meg meow. They will be, I'm sure, taking part in some of these. So I'm going to chunk the rest of the semester into 5 modules. For those 5 modules, there are going to be 4 assignments. So 1 assignment per module. And then the last module, I just want you to be thinking about working on your final project during that one. You won't have an assignment that is tied to it. So for each of those modules, you'll have an assignment that is due on Friday. I've posted the Act 2 of the book up as a PDF because I did get a lot of people didn't have access to the book. So for whatever reading there is, please feel free to read it online. I'll get Act 3 up as soon as I can, but that's not due for another couple weeks. So in order to kind of have parity between the two halves of the semester, I did want to also have you be able to get up to 120%. So each of those 4 assignments ends up being worth 30 points. That's how we get there. That was an awful lot compared to the ones from last half of the semester. So the way I decided to do that is to have it be 20 points for each assignment, which will have like a visual response or will have a written response to the work that we're doing. Those assignments will be going up. The first one will be up this weekend before we start into module 1, and the rest of them I'm hoping to have up over that first week, which is week 11. And so it's 20 points for that main response, and then 10 points will be for you interacting with each other via discussion boards and leaving feedback on other people's posts. So again, as I discussed in the last video, all assignments are due on Friday, and then you have between Friday at midnight when that assignment is due and the following Wednesday at midnight to leave 2 other comments on people's posts. I'm going to give you guys prompts in terms of what those comments are going to be. For example, there's going to be one assignment which is on Gestalt, and you're going to take photographs of things in your home that display these Gestalt principles, and your comment would be that you're going to look at other people's sets of photographs and pick one photograph that you're going to argue could actually be a different Gestalt principle other than the one the person gave you. That will make more sense when we get to Gestalt, but that's an example. So that way we still get to 120%. Those 2 halves, gonna average what you've got for them, and oops, sorry, swiped too soon. I'm gonna average what you got for the first half of the semester, second half of the semester. That average becomes your assignment grade, which is worth the biggest chunk out of the kind of parts of the grading areas. So again, that means that if you miss feedback on one of them, you still can get over 100%. So that way, again, there should be some flexibility for the fact that things are shifting and changing. If you miss one of the assignments, but you get all the other assignments 100% and you get, all your feedback in, you can still get 100. So hopefully this allows some flexibility based on the fact that things are a bit bonkers right now, and maybe you don't have access to all of the time that you used to have. I have redone all of the assignments so that none of them are requiring any specific piece of software or any tech other than being able to take a photograph and get it online. So hopefully, even if you have an old-fashioned phone, you'd be able to do that. So if there ever is a problem, again, please get in touch with me and we'll figure out a way around it. With that in mind, I've completely changed the final. The final was originally going to be video portfolio based. I don't want to require you to make a video at this point because you may not have access to the ability to do that. And I don't want anyone penalized for that. So I'm going to explain it in more depth in a video specifically just for that. But basically, you're going to make up an app that doesn't exist already that solves a problem. It can be based on an app that exists, but you would, change something so that it was better than what exists already. Or you're making up an app that doesn't exist because you think there's a problem that can be solved that no one's done yet. There are 3 options for how you're going to present that app. Option 1 is video-based. If you've got, say, an Android or an iPhone and you are comfortable editing video on your phone, then terrific. You can use photographs, you can use royalty-free video that's out there, you can shoot things, you can basically pitch your app to your intended audience. That video will be between 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes long. You're also going to have to hand in any case, some extra documentation in terms of we're looking at audiences and personas. So you're going to give me some documentation about why you chose to do it this way based on who you're pitching it to, who the audience is, what problem you're solving, etc. We'll get into that in more detail later. But your second option would be if, say, you aren't comfortable using iMovie on your phone, but you do still have access to the ability to make a visual presentation on something like PowerPoint, Keynote, or Google Slides, and you have the ability to get into Zoom and Zoom with us in class time. If you do have that availability, then you can do a visual presentation that you will give to us during the class time, during that final class time on April 27th, where you will zoom in and you will give that presentation, visual presentation, and you will also still submit to me that presentation plus other documentation that I will go over. The third option, if you do not have the ability to zoom in, or you don't have the ability to make a video, or you maybe just want to focus more on the user journey of the app, then you're gonna make for me a walkthrough of the app. So the first 2 options don't require you to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of how the app might work if you were to design it. You're just thinking about how you're gonna present it and tell that story to an audience. If you are interested in the way that you would actually make the app, then I recommend you take interaction design with me next semester in the fall. But before you do that, in this class, you could create a walkthrough that tells us the user journey. You'll need to make at least 3 key screens for this, but you can do this by hand. You can draw out like a storyboard how you would, what those key screens would be and what they would look like. You don't even have to do it in color. You can write down for me what that color would be. So you can do this completely analog if you need to, and you can write out what the user journey would be, again, pen and paper if you need to. As long as you can take a photograph of this and send it to me by email, Blackboard, however, text, whatever, then you can still submit that final to me. Again, I'll go into the specifics of what I need in terms of documentation, but if you need to do it analog, we can do it analog. So we'll find a way to get us through that you can still kind of hit those same key points as everybody else, even if you don't have any access to technology beyond an old flip phone. So we will figure out a way to get through this. Summaries of the way that we've changed the grading. Attendance and participation's done. put a bow on it. You can get up to 5 points extra credit, but don't worry about losing any points. There's 4 more assignments. They'll be posted on Blackboard. I will tell you about them in detail in each module. They're all due on Fridays. You'll then reply on a discussion board. That's due the following Wednesday. All of that will live inside the module dedicated to that topic. The final has 3 options. They'll be explained in more depth in that video, and you can do your final no matter what access to technology you have. Just let me know and we will figure it out together.